My parents paid for my sister's college, but not mine. At my graduation, they finally saw what they'd thrown away, and their faces went pale. If you love stories about revenge served cold and family drama with a twist, hit subscribe and turn on the bell because you don't want to miss this one. The microwave beeped, cutting through the quiet hum of the kitchen. Ava Brooks grabbed the steaming plastic tray and set it on the table, the smell of rubbery mac and cheese wafting up like a tired sigh. She plopped down in her usual spot, alone in her tiny apartment that still smelled faintly of hospital sanitizer and lavender air freshener. 12 hours at St. Grace General, running from one end of the trauma wing to the other, and this was her reward. A lukewarm dinner and silence. She tapped her phone open, the light from the screen bathing her tired face. Her thumb hovered over the Instagram icon. She shouldn't look. She always regretted it, but curiosity had teeth. Tap. The first post was her sister Emily, grinning wide in a glossy photo, her long blonde hair curled to perfection, holding a golden JD balloon. Her parents stood on either side of her, beaming like they'd raised royalty. "So proud of our baby girl on her law school graduation. You've made us all proud, sweetheart. #blessed, #family first, proud parents." Ava's stomach twisted tighter than the cheap plastic fork in her hand. She blinked. Once, twice, then swiped down. Another photo. Emily blowing out candles on a 2-tiered cake shaped like a stack of law books. Another, her mom holding up a best grad ever mug. Another, her dad giving a toast under twinkling backyard lights. No one had texted Ava that week. No one had asked about her shifts, about her life, about her. Her hand slowly clenched around the fork. It snapped in two. She let the pieces fall onto her tray and stood up. The kitchen chair screeched across the linoleum floor. Ava opened the hallway closet, reached past a stack of boxes, and pulled out a thin, worn folder. Inside, the acceptance letter from Columbia Business School still looked as crisp as the day she'd opened it in secret. She'd gotten in. She'd gone. Working full-time, taking night classes. No one had known. Not even Emily. She pulled another envelope from the folder. Her diploma, with honors. A smirk tugged at her lips as she stared at it. Smart enough to get loans, her father had said. We only have enough saved for one of you, and Emily, she needs it more. Her voice was steady, low. From the counter, her phone buzzed. A new email. Subject: Congratulations, Dr. Brooks. You've been selected as this year's valedictorian. She blinked, then let out a single breath of laughter. Not bitter, just sharp, like the first bite of winter air. There was a PS at the bottom of the email. We'd also be honored if you'd deliver the keynote speech. The ceremony will be live-streamed globally. Family and guests are welcome. Ava's smile turned into something else, something colder, sharper, almost surgical. "Oh, I'll be there," she whispered, front and center. The coffee shop buzzed with quiet chatter and the rhythmic hiss of the espresso machine. Ava sat at a corner table, her black blazer hanging off the chair behind her, sleeves of her scrubs peeking out beneath a worn hoodie. Her eyes scanned the open laptop in front of her, but her mind wandered. She stirred her coffee absent-mindedly, the clink of the spoon in the ceramic mug, a soft, hollow sound. Across the screen blinked a video, paused on Emily's smiling face again. Ava had never hit play, but the thumbnail was enough. Emily on stage, arms thrown around her favorite professor, a floral sash around her neck. "She's not even good at law," Ava muttered under her breath, finally slamming the laptop shut. Her phone vibrated in her pocket. "Mom, hope you're doing okay. Don't forget Emily's coming back home next week. We're throwing her a welcome dinner. You can come too, of course, if you're not too busy." Ava stared at the message, her jaw tightening. No congratulations for her? No "we miss you"? Just a side note, like an afterthought. She typed, "Can't. I'm speaking at my own graduation that weekend, top of my class." Then, after a moment, she added, "Should be a pretty big deal. You and Dad might want to come." She hit send before she could talk herself out of it. Almost immediately, the typing bubble appeared. "Mom, wait, graduation? We didn't know you were in school. What for?" She didn't respond. Let them wonder. That evening, Ava pulled into the driveway of a low, gray office building nestled in a strip of professional suites. The plaque near the door read, "Vitalis Health Tech Group, Executive Division." Inside, sleek glass doors opened to a minimalist office space. Ava walked past a wall-mounted screen displaying the company's stock ticker and into the back corner office where her partner, Mason, sat reviewing code. He looked up. "You're early." She tossed her bag onto a chair. "I need something from you." He raised an eyebrow. "Oh." Ava slid the event brochure across his desk. "Our company is co-sponsoring the Columbia Innovation Fund this year. It's public, high profile. The graduation keynote will include an announcement of the winning endowment sponsor." Mason glanced through it. "Right, I remember. That's your ceremony, right?" She nodded. "I want our endowment to be the highlight, and I want my name on it, not just the company, my name." He gave her a slow smile. "Making a statement?" She met his gaze. "You could say that." Mason leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. "I assume this has something to do with the sister who got the cake and candles while you got student debt." Ava just smiled. He laughed. "You want a name for the endowment?" She didn't hesitate. "Name it the Ava Brooks Fund for those no one invested in." Later that night, Ava lay in bed, laptop propped on her knees, editing her speech. She paused between sentences, imagining their faces, her parents, sitting in the crowd, clapping politely at first, then slowly realizing what was happening. And by the time she stepped down from that stage, they'd never look at her the same way again. Because they'd see her, not just the forgotten daughter, but the one who didn't need their approval anymore. Ava's phone buzzed non-stop the next morning. "Hey, guess who's back in town?" "Mom." "Ava, your sister is home. We're having dinner at 7. Try to come." "Dad, we're grilling your favorite. Come celebrate with us. Big things happening for Emily." No mention of her graduation. No questions about the school she apparently attended full-time while working nights. Just the same routine they'd always known. Emily in the spotlight, Ava at the edge of the frame. Ava didn't answer. She didn't need to. Still, curiosity pulled her like a hook in the chest. That evening, she parked across the street from the Brooks family home, hidden in the shadows beneath a drooping elm tree. From here, the house looked exactly the same. White shutters, rose bushes by the mailbox, a small American flag swaying from the porch beam. It was like time had never passed here. Through the wide front window, she could see movement, balloons, her mother placing candles in a homemade pie, her father flipping steaks in the backyard, chatting with someone she couldn't quite see. Emily burst into the kitchen with a wine bottle, laughing loud enough that Ava could hear it from the car. She watched for a while. The noise, the warmth, the easy familiarity. It wasn't that she missed it. It was that she had never really been part of it to begin with. Not fully. That night, she logged into Facebook. Profile: Ava Brooks. Status: graduating summa cum laude next weekend. See you at the top. Photo: her in a cap and gown, a Columbia building blurred in the background. She tagged no one. She waited for no one. 5 minutes later, she checked the likes. None from her family. Instead, Mason liked your post. Dean Richards commented, "Incredible work, Ava. Can't wait to hear you speak." Professor Lim shared your post with the caption, "One of our brightest stars." She smiled, not the grin of joy, but the quiet, knowing smile of someone who has walked through fire and come out clean. The next morning, her phone rang. "Hey, Ava." Her mother's voice was stiff. You never told us you were back in school?" "I didn't think you'd be interested," Ava said, her voice flat. "Well, we were just surprised. You're giving a speech?" "Mm-hmm. Valedictorian. Top of my class." There was a pause, a slight breath. "We didn't know you were still doing that kind of thing." "What kind of thing?" Ava asked, already knowing. "You know, ambitious, chasing achievements. We thought you were more grounded now." Ava's laugh was quiet. "Grounded? Sure." Her mom sighed. "Well, I suppose we'll try to come, if we can find the time. Don't bother if it's inconvenient," Ava said, smiling into the silence. And then she hung up. In her inbox, a new email awaited. Subject: Keynote reminder, final program attached. Note: we've placed your speech at the close of the ceremony with a special mention for your startup's endowment. Please confirm any changes by Friday. Ava leaned back in her chair, arms folded. This wasn't just a speech anymore. It was a reckoning. The night before graduation, Ava arrived at the rehearsal early. The campus grounds were alive with energy, students taking selfies by the stone lions, clusters of families carting balloons and flowers, young couples posing in caps and gowns like something out of a glossy brochure. Ava kept to the edge of it all, her black coat flapping in the wind as she walked toward the main hall. She didn't smile, didn't stop for photos. She had her own moment coming, and it didn't need filters or hashtags. Inside, the rehearsal ran with the usual chaos, names mispronounced, chords tangled, faculty arguing over reserved seats. Ava moved like she'd done this before, calm, certain, above it. Dean Richards spotted her from across the room. "Ah, Dr. Brooks, good to see you again." He pulled her aside with a fatherly pat on the shoulder. "You'll speak right after the alumni representative, just 5 minutes. We expect power, Ava. You've earned it." She nodded. "They'll get power." He chuckled, not catching the steel in her tone. By the time Ava got home, her phone had lit up again. "Emily, I saw your post. Didn't know you were still doing the school thing, LOL. Good for you, though." Emily again. "Mom said you're doing a speech? That's cool. Just don't say anything weird, Kay? There's a live stream." Ava rolled her eyes and left her unread. Graduation morning came crisp and golden, the kind of clear blue sky that made everything feel cinematic. Ava stood in front of the mirror, adjusting the collar of her deep navy gown. She clipped her honor medallion into place, then fastened the lapel pin that bore the insignia of her company. She didn't need to rehearse the speech again. It was memorized, lived in, cut like glass. Downstairs, a black car waited. She didn't invite anyone to ride with her. The ceremony unfolded on the wide steps of Columbia's iconic Low Library. Banners swayed, names were called, applause rang out like scattered thunder. Ava sat near the front, calm, her fingers steepled under her chin. Then, out of the corner of her eye, she saw them. Her parents. Karen and Tom Brooks, shuffling through the crowd, trying not to trip over the camera cables. Her mother in pearls, her father in a stiff navy blazer, as if dressing up made them feel like better parents. Trailing behind them, looking annoyed and overdressed, was Emily. Ava tilted her head slightly as they found their seats. No waves, no smiles, just eye contact, sharp and cold as a blade. Next, please welcome our valedictorian, a woman whose work at the intersection of healthcare and technology is already making waves across the country, Dr. Ava Brooks. Thunderous applause. Her parents froze. Emily's mouth parted slightly. Ava stepped onto the stage, heels clicking, robe swaying. And when she reached the podium, she smiled. The camera light went red. It had begun. Ava looked out over the sea of faces, hundreds of caps, cords, proud parents with phones raised, teary-eyed professors. The sun hung high, casting everything in golden light. Then she looked toward her family. Her father's face was unreadable. Her mother clutched her purse too tightly. Emily was chewing the inside of her cheek, clearly uncomfortable. Perfect. She took a breath, leaned into the microphone, and began. When I was 18, I was told something I never forgot. There's only enough to send one of you to college. And so my sister got the money, the support, the attention. I was told I was smart enough to figure it out on my own. I did. There was a pause in the crowd, like a ripple of silence had broken through the applause still echoing from her introduction. Ava kept going, her voice clear and unwavering. What no one tells you is that doing things alone teaches you more than any classroom. It teaches you to fight, to rise when no one notices. It teaches you to become the kind of person who doesn't need applause, but earns it anyway. Her words struck with precision. A few murmurs moved through the crowd. On the live stream chat, the comments began to flood in. Whoa, did she just call out her family? This is incredible. Ava inhaled once and gave them the turn. Today, I stand here not just as your valedictorian, but as the founder of a startup that's changing how hospitals use technology to save lives. And I'm proud to announce that my company, Vitalis Health Tech, is donating $1 million to establish a new endowment at this university. an endowment for students who were told they weren't worth the investment. It's called the Ava Brooks Fund. The crowd burst into applause, not the polite kind, the kind that felt like thunder rolling off the steps. Cameras clicked, phones went up, a standing ovation began to build from the back. Ava looked directly at her parents now. Their faces had changed. Her mother's hands had stopped clapping. Her father stared at her like he didn't recognize her. Emily looked like she wanted to shrink into her seat. Good. To those who've been overlooked, underestimated, or pushed aside, you are not invisible. You are not forgotten. You are just getting started. And with that, she stepped away from the podium. The dean rose, mouth agape, and shouted, "Another round of applause for Dr. Ava Brooks." The noise was deafening. As Ava walked down the stairs, a reporter pushed through the crowd. "Can we get a statement? That was unforgettable." Ava smiled, cool and measured. "I just told the truth." Her parents never approached her after the ceremony. They didn't even stay for photos. And Ava, she didn't look back. The next morning, Ava woke to her name trending on Twitter. Hashtag Ava Brooks speech. Hashtag not invisible. Hashtag family reckoning. Clips of her speech, some grainy, some high def, were circulating like wildfire. Influencers posted breakdowns. Grad students quoted her final line in Instagram captions. One video had already racked up 500,000 views. To those who've been overlooked, underestimated, or pushed aside, you are not invisible. Ava scrolled through it all from the couch, a cup of black coffee in hand. She wasn't giddy, she wasn't smug. She was calm, settled, until her phone rang. Mom. She let it go to voicemail. Then a text buzzed through. "We need to talk. That was public, Ava. You humiliated us." She stared at the words, not blinking. A second message followed. "Your father hasn't slept. Emily's upset. Why would you do this to your family?" Ava set her phone down and let the silence answer for her. Later that day, Mason called from the office. "You just made us go viral. You know that, right?" "I heard." He laughed. "I'm getting media requests, TechCrunch, Forbes, even NPR. And the donation? People are calling it genius PR." "I didn't do it for PR," Ava said, walking toward the window. "I know," he said, "but you did do it for something." She didn't answer. Instead, she changed the subject. "We're not naming that scholarship fund after the company anymore. It stays under my name." "Done," Mason said. "You've earned it." That evening, Ava got an unexpected visitor. A knock at her door, light, hesitant. She opened it to find Emily, standing there in a hoodie and jeans, holding a takeout bag and looking like someone who'd been crying all day. "Hey," she said, voice small. Ava leaned against the doorframe. "Wow, you didn't send a text first? That's growth." Emily let out a hollow laugh. "I deserved that." A beat passed, then another. "I brought dumplings." Ava raised an eyebrow. "Pity food?" Emily held up the bag. "Maybe peace food." Ava stared at her for a second longer, then stepped aside. 5 minutes. They sat in silence at the small kitchen table, steam rising from the dumplings between them. I didn't know, finally said, that they cut you off like that they made you do it all alone. Ava didn't respond right away. You didn't ask. Emily nodded slowly. I didn't. I was too wrapped up in being the one who always got clapped for. You still are, Ava said plainly. Emily winced, but didn't argue. Then she looked up. You meant every word, didn't you? Ava held her gaze. Every one. Emily exhaled. It was brutal and honest. I've never seen them look like that before. They deserved to feel it, Ava said, her voice steady. Silence again, but this time it felt less sharp. Are you okay? Emily asked softly. Ava shrugged. I'm better than okay. I'm seen now. I'm free. Emily nodded. Good. Then she reached for a dumpling. Still, next time you deliver a viral takedown, can you maybe not do it while I'm wearing heels and on live stream? Ava cracked a smile. No promises. It had been a week since the graduation speech, but Ava was still fielding emails like a celebrity. Every time she opened her inbox, a new request waited. Podcasts, conference panels, mentorships, even a spot on a national education board. But the one that sat unread, glowing quietly at the top, was from her father. Subject: talk? She hovered her cursor over it, but didn't click. Not yet. Downstairs, the buzzer rang. Ava padded to the intercom barefoot, still in a tank top and joggers. Package for Dr. Brooks. She buzzed the delivery up, opened the door, and found a square black box on her doormat. Heavy, no label. Inside, nestled in white tissue, was a plaque. The Ava Brooks Fund, for those who were told they weren't worth it, but proved they were anyway. At the bottom, etched in clean serif letters, Columbia University Endowed 2025. She ran her fingers over the words. It didn't feel real, but it was. She had made it real. Later that day, she took a detour through the old neighborhood. She parked across the street from her childhood home, watching through the windshield like she had the week before. Same white shutters, same porch swing. Except now, there were no balloons, no laughter, just stillness. Ava stepped out of the car. The wind picked up as she crossed the street and rang the bell. Her mother answered, blinking in disbelief. Ava? I got your messages, she said, her tone neutral. Thought you might want to say what you didn't say at graduation. Her mother stepped aside. Ava entered the house she grew up in for the first time in 2 years. The smell was the same. Lemongrass cleaner, laundry, and something like time standing still. Tom was in the living room. He looked older than she remembered, like shame had sunk its teeth into his face. Ava, he said, that speech. She held up a hand. Don't apologize for how it made you feel. I didn't say anything untrue. He nodded slowly. I know. I just wish I'd seen you sooner. What you were carrying, what you built. Karen looked at her daughter like she was trying to memorize something she'd missed years ago. We thought we were doing the right thing. We didn't think you'd need help. I didn't need it, Ava said, but I deserved it. A long silence followed. Finally, her father looked up. We're proud of you, Ava. We should have told you a long time ago. She didn't nod, didn't cry. She simply said, thank you, and turned toward the door. As she stepped back into the sunlight, Ava felt lighter, not because they had apologized, but because their words didn't define her anymore. She had taken her pain, her anger. 2 months later, Ava stood before a different crowd. No caps and gowns this time, just polished floors, champagne glasses, and crisp navy suits. The Vitalis Health Tech Gala had drawn a full house. Venture capitalists, hospital CEOs, researchers, and rising stars from the tech world. In the center of the ballroom, a sleek banner read, "The Ava Brooks Fund, Investing in the Overlooked." Camera crews moved along the edges of the room, catching glimpses of the honorees. Behind the podium, a massive screen rotated slides. Ava shaking hands with the dean, snapshots from her keynote, a spotlight piece from Forbes. She stood stage left, watching it all with quiet authority, her satin black dress flowing like ink down her frame. Her posture was relaxed, confident, not hungry for validation anymore, just whole. The MC, a respected tech journalist, stepped up to the mic. And now, the woman who not only disrupted the healthcare AI space, but redefined what it means to rise on your own terms. Please welcome Dr. Ava Brooks. Applause surged as Ava crossed the stage. She didn't read from notes, didn't need them. When I first started this company, I was building more than tech. I was building a way out from being overlooked, underestimated, told, "You're smart, you'll figure it out." And I did figure it out, but more importantly, I remembered what it felt like to be left out. The crowd was locked in, silent, waiting. So this fund isn't just a scholarship, it's a message. To the young woman working 3 jobs just to attend one night class, you're not invisible. To the student sleeping in their car between lectures, you are not forgotten. To the ones who didn't get the support, the applause, or the safety net, this is for you. A pause. One breath. Sometimes the ones who are left behind are the ones who build the roads forward. Let's fund them. Let's find them. Let's believe in them first. Thunderous applause. As she stepped down, she passed a familiar face in the crowd, Emily. Her sister stood with her arms crossed, but her eyes were different now. Not bitter, not jealous, just humbled. They shared a glance, nothing more, but it said enough. Outside the venue, under the glow of the city skyline, Ava slipped into the back of a waiting car. Mason climbed in beside her, grinning. "You did it." "No," she said with a smirk. "I'm just getting started." The driver pulled away from the curb. The city stretched wide before her, glittering with possibility. And for the first time in a long time, Ava didn't feel like she was proving anyone wrong. She just felt like she was living right.